Good morning. So it's another early morning cloudy day, and I wanted to make a video really quick. I'm probably going to do another chapter of this book, but I wanted to make a video about some stuff I was thinking about. Um, First of all, this is sort of like a strange, like order of business type thing, but I heard a once saved, always saved video the other day, and it's not. I don't think it's like we're getting split into camps. What I really think, what I've always thought is going on, is that the once saved, always saved people are appealing to a certain group, trying to appeal to a certain group, and the that's a dangerous heresy. Stay away from a group, are trying to appeal to another group. I'm always, um, I want to believe the best about everybody, and especially since a lot of these people doing the once saved, always saved appear to me to be strong Christians, and I don't think that they are. I really feel like they are doing something in the spirit of trying to get people to not be insecure about God and His ability to save, and I get all that. But I heard this once saved, always saved person um, say something that clarified it, that helped me to clarify our position, which is once saved, always saved is going to get you hemmed up. So she said, or maybe it was a guy, I don't remember now, but she said something like, yeah, once, I think it was a guy, because it was like, once you're saved, that's it. There's no more that you need to do. And they said, there's not this thing where if you ask for forgiveness for God, or like you get saved and then you mess up and then you lose it, and then you ask God for forgiveness, and then He gives it to you again, and then you mess up and then you lose it again, and then you go back to God and He gives it back to you again. And I heard that and I thought, yes, that is true. That is not what we're saying though. What we're saying, and it was like, oh, is that what you think that we mean by that? That you have to just, you lose it, you lose your salvation, then you got to get it back from Him, then you lose your, like, first of all, that's like a cartoon thing that would never happen. People aren't going around and leaving like a person who's doing that, or a thing, that's just not a thing. It's what would be the equivalent of that? It would be like, Lord, Lord help me make this video. I'm not going to try this over again. But like, the equivalent would be like, I don't know. It's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where somebody is like, you know how they like go off the cliff and then they walk in the air for a little while and then they realize they're in the air and then they fall. It's like, this is not something you're trying to ensure, or like you're trying to tell people that something won't happen, that it's not going to happen anyway. A person who is doing that is not going to, doesn't exist and also love God and is a Christian. Like, that's ridiculous and absurd, because that doesn't happen. Nobody leaves God, full blown leaves God like that. What happens is you can walk away from God. And this is what in the Old Testament, God says, the soul who sins shall die. If you were a wicked person and you did all manner of wickedness, and then you turn and you become righteous, your wickedness will not be remembered. Okay? Which is an amazing, amazing level of grace. Then he also says, if you were righteous your entire life, and then you turn and you become wicked, your righteousness will not be remembered. So this is about what condition you're in at your last breath. So, and that's kind of like why it's a dangerous thing, because you need to know if you're on the outs with God. Because if something happens to you and then you go and then you die, and then you don't have any time to rectify that situation, then you're going to find yourself. So what once saved always saved does is makes you unclear, or like it makes you um, unaware of your situation. It literally says, "Don't worry about it." So you just stay unaware of your situation. And so the non once saved always saved people are saying, "Hey, don't listen to that, because if you're already feeling like, am I saved? I did it," like whatever condition that would come up to make you feel like, you may be doing something wrong. Just stay wrestling with that. Just stay in a wrestling place. Don't don't just reassure yourself with, "Hey, man, when God saves somebody, that who the Son sets free is free indeed," which is part of a parable about slaves and being a son inside the house, and not about once saved, always saved. So um, this is a reassurance that's not even necessary. It's the same type of fear you should have if you commit a crime, and uh, you don't know if there's a warrant out for you or not. Like, no one should be trying to reassure that person that everything is fine, and that they uh, it's like, no, be scared, go look up your thing, go find out if you've got so many parking tickets now that you're just, you got to do a week in jail, and then go do the week in jail, for goodness sake. Like, the type of person who is scared about this is not just some worry wart. This is somebody who is probably feeling conviction, but they don't know that that's what that is, or they're just it's just avoiding. But at any rate, it doesn't matter. Even if you're just a worry wart and you just are worried about this sin that you did or that sin that you did, yeah, no, you don't have to go around. It's like, yeah, that God is covering you for sure. And the other thing that I was going to say, which I guess is sort of in line with this, is like, um, this grace that God is giving us. It's not for us to put our consciences to sleep and tell us that everything is fine. It's for you to like make mistakes. Because like recently, I did something that I felt like God was telling me to do, or I just felt I literally just felt it. Like, God didn't say like do this, and I did it, and it's only been a couple of days, but it kind of seems like something spiritually has changed, like in a good way, like it's like closed doors. And it's really confusing, because the thing that I felt like I was telling you to do was in direct, um, it was in direct opposition to something that I thought he told me to do earlier. And so I'm like, did he never tell me to do that earlier? Did I misinterpret it? Did he tell me to do that? And then now he's telling me to, okay, stop. And that's just all it is, just obey. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I guess I'll find out later. But the point was, now if I'd have just ignored it, I could have ignored it. Would that put me on the outs with God? No, it's like, this thing is like an experiment. So like for a while, I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, he can't be telling me to do that. That's weird, because I spent all this time and all this energy and blah, blah, blah. And whatever. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe he is telling me I'm going to just need a lot more. I'm going to need a couple more promptings or whatever. And then that's what happened. Even then I was like, am I just being paranoid because now I'm looking for them? So now I'm being OCD about it. And I was like, just do it. Just do it. And then it just seemed like since I did that, it's been better. And I'm just like, does that mean I wasn't supposed to do that in the first place? Like, it was really confusing, but at the same time, it's like, and then after that, this morning, I was in my quiet time, and I was just like having a moment because I was like trying to pray in tongues or whatever, and I was like, in my brain, I was like, maybe today you'll find out you're not supposed to be even praying in tongues, maybe. And I was like, yeah, no, the way that when you find out that you're really, really doing something that you're really, really not supposed to be doing, it's like, it's not this thing of like, I feel like I should be. It's like when you realize you're doing something that is not of God, it's like going to your friend's house and they have a pet snake or something, like a big pet python or whatever, and you're there house sitting, and then you go in there and you find out that python's not in its cage. You're like, oh, okay, I gotta go. I gotta leave. I'm leaving. Like, you were fine when you were there and you thought everything was fine. And then you realize, oh, yeah, no, I gotta go. It's like an immediate, like, whoops, this is not my scene. Whoa, wow, I have been here. Ooh, I gotta go right now. Like, that's what it feels like. So, so I was thinking that I was like, there's a difference between, but it's not like they're all like that. There's gradations. Like I was saying before that, it's like, I didn't know if this thing, and I still don't. I just know that I obeyed and it seemed like it's helping. I might have to go back on it. So that's what this grace period is for, where God gives you the once saved, always saved blanket so that you can err, you can make mistakes without worrying about being destroyed. That's what this grace period is for. It's not for you to live in blissful ignorance because Jesus paid it all. Like, that's not what it's for. So if you listen to one of these once saved, always saved, and you have to use it to constantly calm yourself down about, like, I understand that you want to live in complete freedom and joy about what Jesus did, but that shouldn't be the way to do it. Like, you are a sinful person. Your state is wretched and horrible. And the closer you get to God, or the more that more responsibility you put on yourself, the more you should be seeing that. And you should be like, dude, how are you even alive? How are you even here with me? Like, that's because you see how you can't obey God. You see how you can't keep your word on things, and you can't, just like the thing I was saying earlier in another video about, like, if you could save the entire world from hunger, if you just stop drinking iced tea for 6 months, for a year, whatever, and you couldn't do it. It's like that. So you should be reveling, you should be in awe of the lengths that God is going to save you, not in, I don't have to worry about punishment anymore. It's like, dude, that's really not the spirit. That spirit's not going to carry you to heaven. Like, being not worried, like, that shouldn't even be the energy that you're relying on to love God. It's like, I love him because he's not punishing me. That's weird. So yes, while it's not this thing where you lose it, then you gain it back, you lose it, then you gain it back. That's not even something that somebody would do. It's that you could lose it and not ever be aware of it if you're not, because it's not even about losing it. It's like, if Jesus says, I don't know you, what have you lost? You don't even know, because you're not familiar with God. You never spent time becoming familiar in a relationship with God. So he says, depart from me, I never knew you. Not depart from me, I took your salvation away because you did that thing. So if you want to take your free pass of once saved, always saved, and do absolutely nothing with it, and never get close to God, then it was good that he gave that to you so he could see what you're truly about, which is not about him. you're about something else. So, and, living your life that scared of punishment that you have to fall in love with God's get out of jail free card is weird energy, anyways. So, I don't know. I don't think I clarified that in the least, but I felt like I needed to say that. And then while I'm also making a video and it's 15 minutes long, the other thing that I was thinking about was just having read all of these different things. And the next one I'm going to do is the interview with the shepherds that's in this book. And I just thought about like the fact that Jesus was calling God Father. And then I was like, he was like, my Father in heaven, this, that. And then I was like, no, but wait, but he is his Father though. Like, why did that strike our ears like strange or spiritual in some way? We know better. They didn't know better. They didn't know anything about DNA. They didn't know anything about chromosomes. And you had to get this much from your mom and this much from your dad. Virgin birth didn't mean anything to them except for something like super cool, miraculous sign. They're like, okay, you're a virgin. Your mom's a virgin. Oh, big whoop. You're still calling God Father. That's weird. Or it's, you don't have the right to have that equality. So they wouldn't have known anything about the scientific basis for him to say that. As far as they know, kids were born. Do you know what I mean? So they were super offended by it. But then, like, there's like this switcheroo in our brains that takes place when we read that, and we're like taking on their perspective. But like 2,000 years removed, we're like, no, but that he was his literal father though, because if the Mary's, if he used Mary's DNA, Mary's part to qualify him as human, and then God used his part to qualify him as God. And if we've seen him, we've seen the Father. That's like literal. It's so funny because like it goes from something that you think is spiritual and flowery and just super whatever to like actually he's being as literal as you possibly can with you and quite precise. And then you think about the way that these prophecies are written. I'm telling you, these are the little things that compel you to just bow down and realize that God is who he is. Because he doesn't make a show of it. He doesn't break it down for all of those scientists in their arrogance. He just says, the seed of the woman. And, a woman will, will birth a man. And we just think it's flowery language, talking about the Messiah being born. And we think, yeah, okay, yeah, super cool. Yeah, the Messiah is going to come down to earth, not realizing like it's scientifically precise as well. Like, and nobody would have known that until like the last 100 years that he was being precise in a DNA way, in a scientific way. So yeah, God is amazing. He's so effortlessly amazing that it's just like, whatever. You're just like, okay. Jeez Louise. So anyway, that's the stuff I was thinking about. And then on to my actual video that I was supposed to do. So yeah, y'all be blessed. Bye.